to the 82nd episode in our AI and You podcast series. Today is Wednesday, January 26th, 2022, and I'm your host, Vicar Saidi. I'm a computer scientist and engineer, a lecturer, and a consultant. I'm also the author of several books. My most recent book is about artificial intelligence and is titled The Genome Affair. The Genome Affair is a speculative work. It examines what the world might be like if some of the more extraordinary capabilities forecast to be realized in AI over the next 20 to 30 years were actually realized today. Given the growing list of frightening existential threats humankind now faces, the book pays particular attention to the impact AI is expected to have on world affairs. The book is available in ebook format for those who prefer to read on a digital device, but it's also available in a high-quality paperback edition. The Genome Affair is available on Amazon, so I hope you will take the time to read it and to leave a review. Amazon book reviews are very helpful for writers. I'm very interested in how science and technology influence world affairs and the big questions facing humankind. Studying at the confluence of the great disciplines of human history, political science and thought, international affairs, science and technology, offers a deep understanding and pedagogically important lessons of how advances in human endeavor have influenced and impacted civilization. I'm available to give talks on artificial intelligence and its related technologies, and on the impact AI is expected to have or is already having on our world. If you'd like to get in touch with me to arrange a web-based event or consulting meeting with your company or organization, you can find my contact info in the podcast notes below. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and share it with others if you find the content valuable. Thank you. And now, on to today's podcast. In our last podcast, episode 81, I spoke about AI, climate change, and migration, sowing the seeds of intraplanetary discord. In today's podcast, episode 82, I'll speak about artificial intelligence in 2022. Where are we now, and what does the future hold? This is the first in a series of 3 podcasts. Let's get started. About 70,000 years ago, sapiens underwent what may best be described as a genetic mutation in our brains. This unprecedented change in our cognitive ability, the cognitive or intellectual revolution, resulted in a transition for our species, sapiens, from the middle of the food chain to the very top. Since that time, we have essentially dominated our planet. With the exception of natural phenomenon beyond our control, we have achieved a remarkable degree of agency over our own destiny. As we enter this new year, humankind is steadily approaching the precipice of another extraordinary, profound, and unprecedented intellectual revolution, the age of AI. The dawn of the age of AI will be the first event of this magnitude since the cognitive revolution. We will gradually enter a post-rational world, a sphere in which the primacy of human intelligence will soon be eclipsed by the primacy of artificial intelligence. This is extremely unsettling, since, relative to all other species, the primacy of human intelligence has been our defining characteristic for 70,000 years. Despite the primordial status of human intelligence and our incomparable capacity for reason, there will soon be no rational comparison between human intelligence and the intellectual ability and processing capacity of AI. Using machine learning AI agents are being trained on what are, for all intents and purposes, infinite volumes of data, and AI's computational ability is orders of magnitude faster than the human mind. And AI is getting faster every day. For the first time in human history, we have created a proxy, a realistic substitute for human intelligence. As such, AI has eclipsed all our achievements, leaving it alone as humankind's greatest ever invention. For nearly 10 centuries, beginning with the sacking of Rome circa 410 of the Common Era, Western Europe entered a bleak period in its history. With the transition of the center of Roman governance eastward to Constantinople, Byzantium, to contend with the threats from the Persian Empire, virtually all classical knowledge accumulated from Greece and Rome in the West was lost. This new medieval period was characterized by an endemic reliance upon dogma, mythology, supernatural ideas, and superstitious explanations for experiences, phenomena, and observations humankind could not understand or otherwise explain. These irrational dogmas and mystical beliefs were institutionalized and perpetuated for centuries by the Church, and were very effective in maintaining their authority and control over society. But with the arrival of the Black Death in 1348, there was a dramatic fracturing of cultural norms, along with social upheaval within the prevalent economic and political systems. For some time, intellectuals had begun to secretly question the teachings of the Church. Then, the dramatic loss of life and subsequent consequences of the bubonic plague catalyzed the opportunity to exploit the chaotic new environment. These intellectuals now proposed their new rational ideas to each other more openly than ever before, and this laid the foundation for the Renaissance and the scientific revolution. Although 6 centuries have passed since humankind in the West embarked upon their ascent into the age of reason, many societies around the world have yet to make this transition. With the facilities for knowledge acquisition and transfer available today, antiquated societies can easily observe the successes attributed to rational attitudes and behaviors within the cultures and polities of developed societies. Yet their irrational and unsubstantiated religious dogmas, mythology, supernatural notions, and superstitious characteristics remain interlaced and inextricably woven into the fabric of their ancient cultures. For them, self-reflection, introspection, reform, and adaptation to modernity remain elusive. But now the West is poised on the precipice of the 4th Industrial Revolution, characterized by the rise of artificial intelligence, biotechnology, computing, and data science, whilst these ancient societies remain trapped in their medieval mindset. These ancient societies continue to struggle to accept and embrace the age of reason. There have been many dramatic events in Asia and Africa during these past 600 years, important inflection points that may have provided the opportunity for revolutionary change in culture and polity. But these inflection points don't seem to have had a similar effect in fracturing cultures and societal norms, or economic and political systems, in the manner that the Black Death did for the Western Europeans in the middle of the 14th century. During the past 6 centuries, the intransigence of civilizations desperate to hold on to their medieval culture in the face of so much change in other parts of the world, left millions of people extremely vulnerable to oppression. They endured terrible humiliation, injustice, subjugation, and suffering as colonialism, imperialism, and the Industrial Revolution unfurled across Western civilizations. As the Europeans embarked upon journeys of discovery and conquest across the oceans and onwards to the four corners of the earth, they brought great suffering to the peoples of Africa, Asia, and South America. Today, the worry amongst many public intellectuals is that a similar fate, or one even worse, awaits societies throughout the developing world. The Fourth Industrial Revolution and artificial intelligence are likely to remake society in a manner orders of magnitude more revolutionarily than what occurred in the wake of the Renaissance, the Scientific Revolution, the Enlightenment, and the Industrial Revolution. History seems poised to repeat itself, but perhaps this time more ferociously than even during colonialism. Most citizens in both the developed and developing world still consider artificial intelligence to be nothing more than science fiction, a problem that they may someday need to contend with. Although the sentiment is understandable, it is also very dangerous. The age of AI will be particularly worrisome when paired with climate change, since environmental crises will likely add another layer of complexity and suffering to the evolving situation. Climate change is, of course, much more palpable, visceral, and visible. We see video clips of massive glaciers collapsing into the Arctic Sea, and we observe the suffering of billions of animals as their natural habitats are destroyed. We watch fires, flooding, and torrential storms destroy human habitation, families, communities, and entire villages and towns. But artificial intelligence is different than climate change. It is more akin to a silent killer. It resembles a colorless, odorless, invisible gas that slowly envelops us, and by the time we realize we're being constricted by its unwelcome embrace, it's too late to flee. The window of opportunity to plan for the revolutionary changes AI brings will also have closed. During this decade, we expect 800 million people around the world will be adversely impacted by climate change. As their agricultural and pastoral lands and tropical regions of the planet are overwhelmed by the ravages of climate change, they will undoubtedly be forced to migrate from their homes to more temperate climates. This will result in unmanageable social upheaval in their new host nation as increasing numbers compete for jobs and other resources. To compound humankind's challenge, labor economists in Germany have recently warned that during this decade, 800 million jobs are also vulnerable to the reality that artificial intelligence will replace human workers in part or in whole. Yet we see very little discussion in our legislatures or by other elected officials to address these inescapable emerging realities. Although largely unaware, most citizens around the world are already interacting with artificial intelligence numerous times each day. Each time they connect with social media, applications including Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, they are unwittingly interacting with AI. The AI agent that underpins these social media sites works incessantly to refine the personal profiles of billions of people around the world each time they connect. The agent's goal is to understand each person as intimately as possible, so it can personalize their online experience with such precision that users find it difficult to disengage. In a matter of seconds after we launch our accounts for these various applications, the AI agents display a unique and virtually infinite stream of news stories, photos, and videos, finely adapted for our specific interests and tastes. Unfortunately, these AI agents have no interest in ensuring that the information users are being presented with is accurate or truthful. Veracity is not their objective. Engagement is. There's much discussion taking place in society about the damage caused by these social media applications, yet change is painfully slow to come. In the meantime, countless preteen girls are arriving in hospital emergency rooms, where they are treated for attempts at self-harm. Teenage girls are being treated in adjacent rooms for attempting or contemplating suicide. The social media applications continuously show these young people images and videos of other young girls who seem to be physically desirable and perfect in every way as they go about celebrating their unimaginably perfect lives. The girls in the ER realize they cannot compare with these idealized young women, and their inability to cope with this reality leads them to attempt various forms of self-harm. Adults are also experiencing great harm from social media. They find themselves consumed by stories and videos that reinforce their biases by triggering the emotions and impulses in their limbic system. Their news stream deliberately makes them angry, anxious, and frustrated, since the AI agent knows that this is the best way to keep them engaged. Once again, they may be receiving news, pictures, and videos that are untrue, and this is exacerbating the political divide in America and around the world. Social media has directly led to a degree of polarization within society along the lines of education, ethnicity, income, and wealth inequality, race and rural versus urban communities, to such an extent that nearly 70% of America's electorate now say that the country's democracy is in crisis. Nevertheless, artificial intelligence is and will continue to have many positive benefits for individuals and society. AI is expected to revolutionize the rate at which new, more effective, and safe drugs are developed for numerous diseases. AI will likely result in dramatic cost reductions for the development of these drugs. As well, AI will also revolutionize healthcare, as AI agents with the knowledge of a highly trained physician establish residency on each individual's iPhone or smartwatch. Similarly, another AI agent can accompany each and every student throughout their education and formative years to ensure that they are learning well. We'll discuss these applications and much more in part 2 of this series of essays on the future of artificial intelligence. Thank you for spending some time with me. I'm trying to follow the TED Talk format, and so I'm keeping these podcasts under 20 minutes. Let me know what you think. I hope you will find these insights into artificial intelligence hopeful, and I hope you will read my new book, The Genome Affair. It's on Amazon. Until next time then, this has been the AI and You podcast with author Viqar Saidi.